Hey y'all, it's Gypsy, and as you can see, I have all three of my chickadees sitting here with me for our final episode of Art of Tarot series. I have Goo, and I have Bella Luna, and I have Baby Roo with me. And they are going to kind of highlight what their favorite cards were. We kind of looked over these and discovered that most of the cards I have actually don't look that much like the Rider-Waite-Smith version of the world at all. So let me start out as usual by talking about the Rider-Waite-Smith card as it is discussed in 78 Degrees of Wisdom, written by the fabulous Rachel Pollack. Now here we have Pamela Coleman Smith's version of the World card. There are a couple of things. This one didn't have quite as many points, or I guess markers, as a lot of them. I don't know if y'all saw this, but there's really only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things that I scored on, because it's a pretty simple, straightforward card. First of all, we have the 2 wands, 1, 2, in the hands of the person, the figure. And then does anybody remember where we see these 4 creatures? Does anybody remember?
The wheel.
The wheel. Very good, Bella Luna. The Wheel of Fortune has these 4 characters in the corners, and we see them again here in the World card. Also, the legs. Does anybody notice? Do you think of a card that this reminds you of? You see how
the death.
What?
The Hangman.
Hangman. We got a winner. Come on, man, keep up.
He's like,
we got the Hanged Man. We see that leg position, and that's something else that she discussed. And now, let's see if Rue can get this one. We also have an oval, which is like a 0, which is the number of the very first card in the Major Arcana, which is what card?
The Fool.
There you go. I know, I heard you. Yes, we also have the Fool. We see this here. And in Ciro Marchetti's cards, when we get to his, you'll see he really does connect it to the Fool. So that was another aspect. Also, this is something I never noticed about the World card. These red sashes at the top and bottom of this garland, I guess you could call it, are in the shape of the infinity signs, and they are red in color. And then this sash is purple, which is, a color that is commonly connected to divinity. Oh, and the final thing that is, and this is one that I was kind of like, what? Apparently, this is considered to be a hermaphroditic figure, which Rachel talks about for about a paragraph in her book. This figure is considered to be a divine figure, and the divine is typically asexual or having both sexes, and I guess the implication here that she is saying is that because the sash goes over what we would typically, the area that we would typically find genitalia that would tell you if it's a girl or a boy is covered. However, as you can see here, it's very female looking from what we can see. So I struggle with saying it's hermaphroditic because we don't see the other side.
Because she has longer hair.
Well, the hair is long. It does kind of flow here into the sash, and there's obvious breasts. Looking at the legs, some of these other cards, there's hips. I mean, it's a very distinct female figure. It's not like it's, some of those Illuminati. Remember the Illuminati tarot?
Yeah.
We had a couple cards where it was like, whoa, I don't know if that's a girl or a boy. So a lot of these, it looks like a woman, straight up. So, that kind of affected the point system. It was kind of hard for me to say, yeah, it has a hermaphroditic figure, because frankly, I don't personally see this as being hermaphroditic. I don't really personally care, but, whatever. So, there is Pamela Coleman Smith's version. And this was one of your favorites anyway, wasn't it? Yeah, out of my set. When we went through and picked out our favorites, this was one that Rue picked as her favorites. Of course, I love this whole deck, so, Okay, so now we're going to go to my ancient reproductions. I have the Visconti Tarot.
That was one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, this was one of Bella Luna's favorites. Now, these I did not give a point for being hermaphroditic. In fact, this one wasn't a whole lot like Pamela Coleman Smith's anyway, because we have 2 figures here. We have 2 cherubs, and I only have one other tarot card that has 2 cherubs in it. We'll get to it in just a minute. But I thought that was kind of interesting because only have one deck, and it's a really new deck that actually has the 2 figures in it. But anyway, we see 2 cherubs. If you're looking really closely, those are little boy cherubs, very clearly. There is no mistaking that these are little boy cherubs. These are not hermaphroditic at all.
No.
It's little boys. And then, of course, we have this globe here at the top, and we're going to see this in a lot of, well, this isn't really technically a globe because it doesn't look like an Earth, but you catch my drift.
Represents the world.
Sorta.
Yeah, it represents the world. You have this kind of a kingdom, and it's in a circle, right? You know, and so you have that going on, and we're going to see that in a lot of our cards too. If they don't have the garland wreath, a lot of them have replaced it with some sort of an orb or circle of some sort. So there's the Visconti Tarot from 1450. And then the other 1450 deck I have, or circa 1450, is the Minchiati Tarot. And this one has an angel, and I believe we have angels in some of the other cards as well. So we have 3 completely different looking cards. Here we have one figure in the center of a garland. Here we have 2 figures beneath a world, and here we have an angel standing on top of the world. Now, something I noticed about this one is that it has 4 other cherubs kind of blowing the winds of change, or, you know, they're causing the wind to blow on the earth. And I guess you could kind of compare that or connect it to the 4 characters that we see that represent the zodiac. It's a little different, but it's there. We also don't have 2 wands, but we have an arrow, and we have a crown. So there are symbols there, but they're not exactly of the, you know, the wands. And we have another boy.
I noticed something on that.
It's hard to see, but it is a man.
I noticed something.
What?
Instead of two X's in a line for 21, it has 2 X's a line and an
Yes,
X.
it does. Very good. Good call, Rue. This Minchiati does this a lot. They use a different numbering. The numbers for the Minchiati don't exactly match up to the traditional tarot because it is a little bit different deck. So as you can see here, we have the number, what is that, 39? Yeah, we have number 39 there instead of 21 because there's a lot of, the Minchiati has a card for each zodiac symbol and all that, so the world was kind of moved down the line in the series of cards. Good catch, Rue. I forgot. I saw it earlier and I didn't even think to make a note of it, so I'm glad you saw that. Okay, now we're going to see how highly influenced Arthur Waite's deck was by the Minchiati Tarot once again. And we've seen this a couple of times where this card was basically like a predecessor to the Rider-Waite-Smith.
That was
Yes, this was another favorite. It turns out Rue is quite the little traditionalist when it comes to her tarot preferences. So we have the 4 characters again. I mean, this is basically like the same card. We've got a little more color. This is like the Rainbow Bright version. We have the sash. We have the 2 wands. We have the wreath. We have the 4 characters. We have everything. The only difference is that
the sash doesn't go as high.
Yeah, the sash doesn't go as high, and it's different colored. It matches the wreath. If you look, the wreath is various colors. So is the sash on the figure in the middle. And the figure in the middle, while it looks feminine, it's drawn in a way that it's, you know, I don't know. I guess you could go more hermaphrodite ideal with that one than the others, but it's
she's
still
holding the wands downward.
pretty female looking.
And I've noticed another thing. This one also has that little...
Yeah, it even has the sashes. Well, actually, if you look at the way their hands are positioned, they're actually still very similar.
Oh, they're
very similar.
She just looks like she's holding the wands downward instead of upward.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just he didn't really change it all that much, frankly. Pamela Coleman Smith, I think, was just instructed to basically redraw this, in my opinion, and change the coloring slightly. But it's all there. In fact, I kind of like the rainbow aspect of the world in the Minchiati, the Marseille. Am I saying Minchiati over and over? Marseille Tarot. I am, aren't I? I do that every time. Marseille, Tarot of Marseille. Because it has all of the colors of the rainbow. It has the full spectrum, giving it that, you know, all-encompassing kind of feel to it. So there is the Marseille, Tarot of Marseille. Not Minchiati. That's the tiny one.
Don't forget it's Marseille.
Marseille. So Victorian Steampunk Tarot is actually the one that copied the 2 little cherub, the 2 little children. So you see there, and I think it's kind of funny that we have the rainbow has been preserved also. You see the rainbow of colors here. And I think that's kind of cool. It's weird, though, because it looks like the kind of banners they use at, like, car dealerships.
Banners at, like, Taco Cabana.
Yeah, it's like, what is that? Fiesta banner? Oh, okay. But, I think it's I'm starting to like this deck more.
Maybe it's the world, like, different cultures.
Right, it could represent different cultures, different types of people.
Because it's, like, Greek mythology right here.
Well, and if you look real closely, one of these is a heart, right here in the middle. This little flag here in the middle that looks like it's missing, kind of. It's a heart down there. We have the garland that's kind of going around, and we have an earth. We have an actual globe, and again, you're going to see that in several of these cards. The first few cards I'm going to show you after this one are very similar to the Rider-Waite-Smith, and then it kind of tapers off. Honestly, I think the highest score we got was a 7, and that was the one that's coming up here in a minute. But, I mean, there's only, like, a few that have a lot of elements, and then it drops off to, like, 1 point. I mean, over half the cards had 1.5 points or less. So I decided I'm not going to go in order of the score because it's really kind of meaningless. So I kind of grouped the rest of them by what their elements were that made them kind of similar to each other. So this is one that has a globe, and we'll see more with globes here in a little while when I get to that section of my cards. Was this anyone's favorite? It wasn't, was it? No? Okay.
In this next one, the purple sash is not on the person.
Well, no, but it is in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It's hard to tell in this card because of the way that the colors are done in this deck. They're kind of muted colors.
Kind of faded a little bit.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, it has an old look to it. But this is supposed to be a purple sash. So when you look at the Revelations Tarot, which was actually, I think this is the only time the Revelations Tarot has gotten a high score. It's gotten like the highest score.
Yeah,
it's usually really different.
Low.
Yeah. This one actually did a good job. And one thing I want to point out about this one, which Goo noticed a minute ago, was that while they're not hermaphroditic figures, we clearly have a man up here on top. And then at the when we do the reversal, we see the woman. So in the card, you still have both aspects of male and female,
let me see
but one is more dominant than the other depending on which direction you're reading it.
Well, you know how you have the characters on the sides? Well, you have kind of like a snake right here, just like the characters
Well,
on the
that's
side.
another banner. I don't know if that's a snake.
You have the characters on the side right here.
Yeah, you do still have the characters. This one had a lot. It has the garland, and then you have the figure in the middle. You have the purple sash. You have the red sashes at the top and bottom doing the infinity sign, and then you still have the 4 creatures. So this one actually got a perfect score because it did have all of the elements, even though it's a little different. And I didn't consider it to be like this, where it has 2 cherubs, because this is being the Revelations Tarot. You kind of look at it, in its pieces. So that was our high score.
The next one was one of my favorites. This is always one of my
Illuminati.
favorites.
That's my favorite too.
Bella Luna.
It's like my
always
favorite
loves
deck.
that.
I want this deck so bad.
Yeah.
My
This is the
favorite, too.
Illuminati Tarot. And this one, the only reason why it did not get a full score was because if you see here, it's got the red
It
sash.
has an orange sash.
But it's not, yeah, it has an orange, well, but it still has a sash. But this is not infinity signs. We don't have that infinity symbolism in there. But we still have the 4 characters. We still have, the main sash that goes around the person. This person still, to me, looks very female. We do have the breasts there, but the Illuminati Tarot is really good at kind of, actually, I'm really kind of surprised that they didn't give this a more ambiguous look, because, what was it? Was it Temperance? It was Temperance, wasn't it? That had that freaky looking dude, and I was like, ooh, I don't know what's going on. This one does look very female. I mean, and if you look at the stomach and the hips and everything, it's a very female figure. There's no mistaking it. It doesn't have man hips. It's not like girl on top, boy on bottom. Looks like a girl. I mean, it straight up looks like a girl. So, but I didn't let it hurt its score. I gave it credit, because if this is considered hermaphroditic, then I'm going to let this one go too.
And this
So
next
there's that one.
The garland is a snake. It's not. It looks like
Yes.
she's riding as a hula hoop.
Which actually, though, the snake biting its tail is a common known sign for infinity. So it kind of was like 2 birds with 1 stone. You have the circle and the oval.
And it's green.
And it's green, but it also represents that infinity without having the sashes tied to it. And actually, this was one of my
The
favorites.
sash is colored.
It's just kind of comical. I think it's
Sash
cute.
Is, the sash is like a rainbow. Like
Yeah, the sash around her is, well, the sash is kind of reddish. But then we still have the 2 wands, and we have the 4 little characters at the bottom. They look like little punk versions. I like, whoever the artist was for this, I didn't look it up, but I really like the way they did the world. I thought this was a quirky card. I liked it.
Definitely a woman.
I noticed.
Yeah, that's definitely a woman. This is all woman. Okay.
There's no men in that card.
You can't see the female conformation down there, but it's pretty female. I mean, it's like...
I've noticed something about this.
What about this one?
Instead of red sash, they decided to do a white.
Yes, it's all very white. This is very cloudy and white. And, you know, whereas the Marseille tarot has all the colors of the rainbow, this one is almost completely devoid of color altogether. So I think that's kind of interesting, and I'd like to know why that decision was made, but I like it. We have the 4 characters. We have the garland. We have the sash. We have the wands. We don't have the infinity signs. I can go hermaphrodite with this one. I don't have a problem with that. I can't tell if any of these are girls or boys because they're little animals, so, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
It could be whatever. So that one was another high-scoring one. It could be both.
It could be both.
It definitely could. Gilded Tarot came next, and this is where it kind of starts to get wishy-washy. This one has a globe in the background. This is actually Gilded Tarot Royale.
I think this was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think this one was one. I know it was one of the Cyril Marchettis.
Except for well, instead of a garland, it's like a gold medal surrounding.
Yeah, it's a golden garland. It's still kind of that wreath. Obviously, though, we do not have the infinity signs on this one. You're messing up my order.
Nice.
She just can't stop touching them. We have the golden garland around it. Then we have a globe. So here we have another globe, guys.
There's garland
Keep that in mind. Yes. There's a globe and there's garland. There's no infinity. We do have a sash, and this one is the purple sash. So we don't have the color red. But the person is wearing a color red. And again, sorry, y'all, this is a woman. This is a woman. She has a very womanly figure. She has a round womanly booty. She is a woman. Unmistakably. Sorry. No hermaphrodite point on that one. Gorgeous card. And then, of
Maybe
course,
it's supposed to represent, like, Mother Nature.
Well, yeah, and you know what? I'm glad you said that, because we're going to have one in a minute that's going to be totally screaming Mother Nature at you, and you'll know it when we get to
Mother Nature.
Yes, and you will see it. You're going to be like, when we get to it. This is the Steampunk Tarot, and this is one of my favorites. I think it's interesting. They didn't use the figures of the animals, but they use these symbols, which represent fire, water, earth, and air, which is also kind of what the four animals do represent the zodiac in general, but they also represent those elements. If you want to know more about it, go watch the Wheel of Fortune video, because I'm not going to go over it again. But this still kind of preserves that aspect of the card, that symbolism. And then, of course, we have the big cog in the background, because it's steampunk. Can't have steampunk without clockwork.
Can't. It's what it is.
It's how it works. So, was this anybody else's favorite besides just mine?
I think I liked that one, but it wasn't one of my favorites.
Wasn't one of your favorites?
I was going to choose it, then I said, eh.
Yeah. Now, this one was kind of funny because I was looking at it really hard, trying to think, you know, could I let this be hermaphroditic? Could it be a hermaphrodite? Could it possibly be a man under there? And if for any of you that have any experience with transgender people, drag queens, that sort of thing, okay, and if you're familiar with the Steampunk Tarot deck, the women in this deck are very feminine. Am I right? I mean,
yeah,
they're very feminine, they're very girly, they're very soft
curly
and lilty.
Hair and like...
Yeah, even the pages, when they're dressed kind of boyish, they're still very feminine looking. This, if you just look at the face, if you're familiar with the steampunk women,
that's like a boy. Dude.
It looks like a dude in drag.
That's a boy.
Yeah. I mean, take away the soft, pillowy breasts that you see there. And that, if you compare it to the other women in the Steampunk Tarot,
you got a man.
It's a boat.
This, I think, could be considered a bona fide hermaphrodite. It's a man with some boobies. Straight up. At least it could have started out as a man. Because compared to the other steampunk women, this face has got a masculine look to it. And it's hard to see in the video. Look it up. Go Google it if you want a close-up if you don't have the deck. For those of you that do have the deck, though, I want you to pipe in on this and tell me what you think. This woman's face has a manly structure. She has, I mean, am I right? She has bigger features.
Yeah.
It's kind of, yeah. I mean, it's like China. It could be, y'all don't know who China was. It could be China.
The one that you said had, like, the Mother Nature figure, is that the Fairy Tarot?
Just wait.
We'll get to it. I can't reveal it yet. People are in suspense. Gotta leave them hanging. Next, we have the Deviant Moon Tarot. Now this is one of 3 mermaidy cards that I have.
I like
and
that.
I'm going to go
that.
right into the rest of the cards after this, because after this one, there's a very loose connection to the Rider-Waite-Smith version of the card. So this is where it stops. Patrick Valenza went water with this one. We have 2 figures at the bottom. We don't have 4, so I gave partial credit for that. But we still get the gist. Well, yeah, but they're like identical.
Well,
They're
maybe
both
since
fish.
they're bigger, it represents all 4.
Yeah, and I think if I really picked apart all the elements of these creatures, because they're fantasy creatures, so they look like they're made up of like spare parts of other animals, maybe I'd see all the elements of all of those creatures in there. I'm not sure, but we do still have the 2 wands. We kept that going. We have the sash. We have the thing going around. Excuse me. And like the light gray tarot, we have a snake biting its tail for the oval, for the shape of the garland there. So that also gives that infinity sign. Very well balanced card. I really like his version of it. I like the balance of color. I know color is symbolic for me. It's just aesthetic. I love color, and I think he kind of preserved the Marseille tarot aspect of, you got the blue and the yellow and the red. Blue, yellow, and red are what? What did I just say? Yellow and red. Blue, yellow, and red are what kinds of colors, kids?
They're primary.
Primary. There you go.
I would say, because I don't know.
Oh, well, you haven't learned that yet. She's in the 3rd grade.
I learned it.
She learned it already.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, and she learned it too. Did you learn that this year? Did you already know that?
Learned this year.
Oh.
I already knew them, but
Apparently in Texas they teach that in 6th grade. They should teach it in 3rd. Well, now you're ahead of the game. These are primary colors. You know why? Do you know why these are primary colors?
because they make secondary colors.
Because why?
Because you can't make them.
Because you can't make them with any other colors. They're like the basic 3 colors that make all the other colors.
Yeah.
Primary, first.
Yellow, red, and blue.
Yeah. Nothing makes blue. Nothing makes red. Nothing makes yellow.
Actually,
They make stuff.
something makes blue.
Mm-mm.
Green and yellow.
No.
No.
Blue and yellow make green. But thanks for playing. So next we have...
Thanks for trying, but it ain't gonna work.
Next we have the other 2, and they're both Paulina, so I'm going to kind of talk about them together. Paulina Cassidy, both of hers were mermaidy, because you know she loves that kind of stuff.
Yeah, all
So-
the details like her thing.
Yes, Paulina Tarot, we have the... in fact, I love this one. I really love this card. This card has got so much balance in it. It's unbelievable. You've got the earth in the background and then the water in the foreground, okay? That's the first thing.
I've noticed something.
What?
They each have this kind of taily mermaidy kind of thing.
Yeah,
going
I just...
Yeah.
Sure do. This one has a big globe, which is like, it's actually got another creature inside of it, which is actually more of an earth creature. So you have the water creature, and then inside you have an earth creature, which is kind of is a little rabbit. And then this one you have a very small globe, and it's not near as noticeable, right? It's not as big a deal in the card.
Eye-catching.
Right. And in her hands, if you look here, she's got water, and I know it's hard in this crappy video, but the water is flowing down from her hand. Then she has fire in this hand. So you have fire and water. And then even on her wrist, she has a moon and a star. And then she's got these butterflies for that, that metamorphosis aspect and all that stuff. And there's just color everywhere. So you could sit and stare at this card. I swear there's like, well, where's Waldo for tarot? You could just sit here and look through this card for symbolism like the whole time.
Let me look at it.
And then, same goes with this one. This one's a little bit more in water. This is definitely surrounded by water with the little rabbit in the middle.
Mom.
Kind of makes me think of the squirrel in SpongeBob SquarePants.
She has something surrounding her as well.
You got Sandy in a bubble here.
She has something surrounding her as well.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like...
Yeah, kind of like
water.
you compare it to kind of like the garland.
Except
but
it's in water, so it's going to be water.
It's something, well, she's above the water.
Oh.
But it's like the picture's kind of framed out. If you can see, there's kind of an edge that goes all the way around. It's like the figure there is kind of framed out in this weird kind of, I don't know what that is. It's like made out of plants and stuff.
There's a lot of hearts in this.
Yeah, this one's a lovey. This is the joie de vivre.
Oh.
It's
Which
like
is
two
the
hearts
joy of
in it,
life.
and then a heart, and then a heart on the animal, and then
Yeah.
like heart everywhere.
This is a happy, happy, joy, joy deck. Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy. Okay. Bonefire Tarot. Bonefire!
I don't like this tarot. I don't like this deck that much.
It's really hard to shuffle.
I bet.
I like the artwork's kind of cool because it's got that tattoo parlor kind of look to it, but I gotta tell you, shuffling these cards,
Like,
for real. I mean, and they've got this cool texture, like to feel them individually, but when you're actually trying to deal with the cards, oh man,
you're just like,
I struggle.
It's slick.
We still have the 4, elements in the corners, and you have the sash running through that makes the shape of the infinity sign that is red. We don't have the purple one, but that's okay. But we've got a couple of the elements. And then again, this figure, I could go with hermaphrodite with this figure because it could be male or female. It could be both. It's really not one or the other.
yeah.
So,
The face just kind of looks in the middle.
yeah, I mean, the face isn't even really all masculine or
The
all
hair kind
feminine.
of comes kind of like.
It's got that haircut. It's kind of like the Frodo Baggins haircut that could go for either way.
I think it's Lloyd.
It's Frodo! Don't get me started on Hobbitera, okay? I'm not there yet, but they did it again, folks. Did y'all see it?
No.
Yeah, I saw it. It's like a dragon.
Actually, I think I saw it.
Okay. Don't ruin it! It's going to be a big surprise for the people, because they won't see it coming.
Spoiler alert.
The world for the Legacy of the Divine Tarot. Now, we don't have 4 figures representing the Zodiac. We have the whole Zodiac. And it makes up the circle, the oval, the 0 represents the Fool. Which brings me back to the Fool point that I wanted to make about Ciro Marchetti's decks. If you look in this picture, and if you've been watching the series, you'll know that he makes the Fool pop up in various cards throughout this deck. So,
I'm guessing
in the
it's
very
another
first card, you see he's taking his helmet off. And he had that fiery helmet on in the very first card. We have this little acrobat guy in this deck, and he comes in and out of different pictures. And he was in the Wheel of Fortune card as well.
I'm guessing the Fool has a lot of significant meaning to it.
Well, yes, because the Fool's Journey. He travels through the entire major arcana. That also is considered the Fool's Journey. And so the Fool goes through all of these.
At the end, he's the knight.
Right, exactly. So at the end, he has come full circle, and he's figured it out. He's got it all figured out. The hourglass has run out. This is the grand finale. He has reached his goal. His world is right. And if you look very closely, you can see a globe. You see a globe, kids?
Yep.
It's gigantic.
It's
here. It's in the background. It's like he's floating in space.
Yeah.
So we still have that globe.
Well, actually,
Cyril likes the globes.
oh, the globe.
Yeah, see, it's Earth.
Yeah.
It's Earth in the background.
He can breathe in space.
You can breathe in space.
Maybe he's dead, just floating.
Oh,
like this.
it's magic. You know. Next, we have the Tarot of Dreams. And again, if you're familiar with this deck, you will see who's in the middle there.
I can't see.
The Joker.
The Fool.
The
Close.
Fool.
Yeah, there's no Joker.
Fool.
There's no Joker.
It's not the Joker. There's no Joker. It's a fool.
It's like a Joker.
Yes, he does look like a Joker. He looks like a jester. And he has his little jester hat. I like this, though, because there's no actual person in the clothes. It's just an empty outfit.
Or maybe it's invisible
And
person.
it's the invisible man. It's the invisible jester. And he's there in the middle. And again, we do not have this.
It can be a girl or a boy.
And it shows all
So
the
it could be either
It
one.
shows all 4.
Right, it has all 4 elements, which is what? What are the 4 elements, Rooster? What are the 4 elements?
Fire, water, earth, and air.
Very good.
That's cheating.
She only peeked for a minute. She knows them anyway. And then, of course, in the middle, you also have the globe. So you have the circle, but it's not a garland. It's not an oval. It's not the same. It's a little different. It's a modification. But we see that a lot. That's going to be something else we're going to see is just a circle. Shadowscapes Tarot, very different, very earthy. You could argue this has a Mother Earth aspect to it. You could definitely argue that.
Oh,
Because, yeah, it's got tons of greenery around it. We have the globe up in the background, and then we also have an orb in her hands. You could go hermaphrodite with this, but I get a very feminine feel off of this card. I just, I don't really... I mean, maybe if she was standing next to someone and she was like 6 foot tall, I could get maybe the manly feel off of it, but otherwise it looks pretty feminine to me. We don't have sashes, but we do have these red ribbons that are coming off of her arm, but they're not in the shape of the infinity sign, so they don't really carry that symbolism quite as much. I can't say enough about these, and I know I've said it before, and I know others have too, especially Rory has spoken about it before, that I really wish these cards were like twice as big as they are, because they're just so pretty, and it's very hard for me to share them with you, with them being this size. Tarot of Sweet Twilight. This is a beautiful representation. The only thing that troubles me about this particular one is the crying, that the earth that the world is crying.
Most sad stuff that happens.
Yeah, well, and I know that life isn't always perfect, and I get that, but generally speaking, the world card kind of means you have it all together. You've got it all together. It's like it's a good positive energy card. And for this one to be crying, the figure down below is collecting these tears in kind of a bowl that's we've been watching a lot of Harry Potter lately, and I keep getting this picture of wanting to stick my face in the bowl so I can see somebody's memories. I have watched way too much Harry Potter during the holidays.
Keep playing it over and over.
Keep playing it over and over.
Today, what a surprise!
We've watched them all over and over. But yeah, it's a beautiful card. You could sit there and pick out all the different elements in there, and it does have, it preserves a lot of the aspects, but I struggle with the crying, but it wouldn't turn me off to this. Nothing could turn me off to this deck.
It's like an alien.
Yeah, I mean, if you understand the meaning of the card, it's easy to kind of just let go of it. And who knows? I mean, you may be doing a reading, and those tears may be something significant that need to be said. You know what I mean? Not all cards are all positive. There is a dark side to every card, so I think I'm going to retract my statement. I don't struggle with it. I get it. It's cool. I'm good. You see how quick that was? I just turned myself right around. You can do that. It's okay. Yeah, especially since we're women. I just change my mind. Never mind. Okay. Next one is, can y'all identify this one?
Let me see.
Who knows what this is?
I don't remember.
Remember the name of this tarot?
Something.
World.
Wild Unknown.
World.
Wild Unknown Tarot.
Willow.
It is a pop favorite right now. This is a huge deck. In fact, just the other day, we were all in half-price books. And I don't think y'all were with me. Y'all were looking at something else. But Goo and I found a book on tarot and tarot cards. And someone had put together a book, and it just came out this year. And it discussed all these different decks. Like, each little section of the book was a different tarot deck. And I was like, ah! So I started looking through it, and it actually had the Wild Unknown Tarot in it, which prompted me to look and see when it was published. Because I was like, how the heck did this deck make it in this book? It turns out it's a brand new book. I didn't buy it, but it was interesting to look at it. So anyway, the world. This is a very simple deck, so it's going to be a very simple world card, which this is. But we do have the rainbow, like we had back in 1750 with the Tarot of Marseille, not Minchiati, because I almost said it. So we have the rainbow. It has that letter M, just really throws me off. I almost said Illuminati Tarot. Inner Realms Tarot.
It actually it's a pretty good this time.
It actually is. It is okay. It's okay.
Rainbow.
We've got the words on it are joy, achievement, enrichment, and success. And here we have the globe. The globe, not the globe.
Garland.
The garland, the oval. Oval is the word I'm trying to think of.
And it's also a rainbow.
Yes, and it does have the purple. It has purple and gold, which are, considered to be
And green if you look
significant colors when you're talking about divinity, the divine. Ooh, and then we have, and this is another deck I really wish was bigger, if the cards were bigger, and it is El Mundo from the 1977 Alchemy England tarot deck. I like this a lot because, again, I'm a sucker for balance. I love the balance. We've got the, pardon me, I'm burpy. We've got the yin yang. We have the, the death, and then obviously we have the life down here. It's like an angel, I think. Yep, sure enough. And what I thought was interesting, this deck is normally really different. Like, it normally just kind of disregards all of the normal tarot stuff and kind of goes its own way.
Makes its own.
It does. But this has the 4 figures in the corners. And I was really shocked to see that. But they did that. They kept them in there. You want to look at that? Look at that.
Oh my god.
They actually did.
Oh my god.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. Oh my god. So, anyway, very cool. And it looks like you kind of have like the kingdom of heaven here, and then down here we have the gates of hell. Might not be what it symbolizes, but I would look like that. That's what it looks like. Very dark. Have we missed anybody's favorites?
No.
Yes.
My favorite one is about to come up after the cover of too.
Okay, well here we have the Vertigo Tarot.
No, it's not. Never mind.
And this one kind of has a Black Dahlia thing going on, which is ironic because I was just reading about that today. But this chopped up body here kind of is disturbing. They do that a lot.
Where's the chopped up body?
That's crazy.
This one's not cut in half, so it's not really Black Dahlia, but it has that
That's creepy.
weird feel to it.
Creepy.
Then we have, of course, the circle in the middle giving that unity. And I could not, I kept looking at this and I can't really make out what this is supposed to be. And this stuff is kind of chopped, cut and paste together. But it's rainbow colors. It reminds me of the entrance to NASA. You know how at the entrance, and I know not all of you know what I'm talking about, but
I know what you're talking about.
going into NASA, we live near NASA where we live, in Houston, Johnson Space Center. And when you're going in, there's like this sign, and it has all the flags of all the countries that are part of the International Space Program. And this strip of color on here kind of reminds me of that sign, you know, which again, kind of going back to that Victorian steampunk tarot, could represent all the different types of people, all the different cultures that make up the world. I'm going to go with that. Next we have Steampunk Gods of the Machine. This one is really abstract, but you can tell if you look at it, kind of bring it back a little bit, it is a zoomed in picture of a machine, like the inner workings of a machine. This is the heart of it all. This is what makes everything work. This is, you know, running like a well-oiled machine. Right, you know, everything is as it should be. Everything's working together to make things happen. So there is that aspect of that, but it's pretty vague. It kind of is like Tony Stark's heart. Tony Stark, it's Iron Man, right there in the middle. Iron Man. Tarot vampires. Is this anyone's favorite?
Let me see.
Tarot vampires.
I think it's one of my
One of your favorites? I know it's Al Moon's favorite, isn't it? Yes, it is. Here we have tarot vampires. The world. We do have some animals, creatures. We have a panther or jaguar in the background, and then we have the snake. And then up here in the corner, we have this shadowy wolf character with a rose floating. It's like a ghost dog. The ghost dog. Kind of in the background there. I haven't read the whole book, so I'm not really.
This next card looks very Mother Earthy.
Phantasmagoria yet. Yes. Now this one is
the fairy tarot.
It is. It is the tarot, the hidden tarot of the hidden realms. This is the one I was talking about. It is like Gaia, Mother Earth.
Screaming,
I am Gaia. Beautiful card. Again, sorry, you're not going to tell me that ever was a boy, because that has got a girl body, girl hips, girlness. This is female. You see the little pooch in the belly and the little hips? That is a female body. It is a fertile, life-giving female body. Period. Yeah. Bam. Sorry, not hermaphroditic.
Boom, crash, burn.
Boom. Skiddly doom. This one's like off the wall. All of these that I'm kind of showing you are they just have a figure. I think I went through the ones that were just the circles when I got to the Wild Unknown. These all just have like a figure in them, but they're very off the beaten path as far as, you know, the world card goes, as far as traditional world cards. This is the Baba Studios, oh my gosh, Bohemian Gothic Tarot. And here we just have a woman that's kind of stepping, you know, she's got these stepping stones down here, and it looks like they're carved to look like skulls. Knowing this deck, they may be skulls. I don't know. This one looks like kind of flat to be a real skull, so unless it was someone that was deformed and had a flat head, maybe it's Stewie's skull. Yeah, I don't know. but that is the Bohemian Gothic. It's a beautiful card. I'm not sure if I'm getting the world feeling from it. You know? I mean, it is peaceful, but I don't know that I have that all is well and complete. I'm not sure that you could make a card that makes me feel that way and still be in sync with the whole Bohemian Gothic theme anyway. So I think they've done what they could with, you know, the theme that they were given.
This next tarot is one of my favorites, the Gypsy Tarot.
And I just have to say I am so glad that both of them appreciate this deck, because I feel guilty that I just don't click with this deck. I just don't get it.
Everything's coming together to form the world.
But they get it, and they love it. And I do understand whenever they put it to me, all of these different pieces
and it's hermaphroditic
have come together to create this world, and it's complete. And you can see that it is, you know, it's complete. It's a complete face. But all the elements are completely different things. They are not connected outside of this picture. Like, you know, typically out in nature, you wouldn't find all these things together, but they come together. Kind of reminds me when people do like food art, you know, and they create some kind of like a mosaic almost, and they put all these pieces of like pineapple and carrots and all these different colored foods and put them together, and then they make like
Well,
All the Sesame Street characters or something. You know what I'm talking about? I've seen these. I don't know. But, I know what I'm talking about. But there's the Gypsy Palace Tarot. These two love it.
Yeah.
This is the last one that has like a figure in it. It's the Hobbit Tarot. Now, depending on your perspective, I could see where this could be a world card.
At least it's red.
Because Smaug is in the castle. Yes, it's red. So it has that red scarf aspect. But you have Smaug, and he's in the castle, and he's on his pile of gold. And for Smaug, this is the world. This is it. He is in his place. He's happy. The problem with this is, I tend to be sympathetic with the dwarves. This is not dwarf world. This is not dwarf heaven. We've all seen the movies. He's not welcome there. They don't want him there.
He does.
So I don't really know. Don't give away the ending. I guess from his perspective, this was the peak. This was the best part of the book for Smaug. Because Smaug. How the heck you say that? For the dragon. This was the apex of the dragon's existence. He had found himself a monster, giganormous pile of gold. And he is as happy as a pig in mud. He's as happy as a dragon in gold. Because that's what they do. So I can see that. But I can't help but think, well, I don't think the dwarves would agree that this was an ideal situation. Because you got some dragon pooping all over their gold. I don't think they like that very much. The next two I thought was interesting because they're both trees. Both
One of these was my
Can I do
favorite.
the last one? Can I do the last one?
I will let you talk about it.
The next one was one of my favorites because it was pretty.
Yes, the color is beautiful. You like it too?
It was going to be my
Oh,
favorite,
bless
but then I changed to a different one.
Oh, well, this is the Archeon Tarot. Timothy Lance, I believe, is who did this deck, and he did a good job with this. It's a cool deck. I struggle with some of the cards, but it's just me because I haven't worked with it a lot. This is the world, and it is a beautiful tree that is like in the middle of changing for the fall season. And if you look at it really closely, it almost looks like it's like you've got this tree trunk that's kind of coming up, and it looks like it's going to sleep for the winter, but it's like he superimposed a big maple leaf on top of it. So this is not a collection of leaves. It's actually like one big gigantic leaf that's up close. I don't know if y'all noticed that or not, but I did.
I noticed it was a leaf.
Oh, you did? Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool because at a glance it looks like a tree. But when you look at it really closely, it's actually just one leaf, which could symbolize the fact that a tree is not it's not just a tree. It is actually made up of a lot of other parts. It's made up of tons of leaves. It's made up of tons of roots. Bark, all these different components that work together to make the tree, this great tree that it is. Excuse me, coughing again. Last card, Wildwood Tarot.
This is the one this is my
I love
third
that one
favorite.
too.
Because
Yeah, that was one of your favorites.
Yeah.
if you notice, it has 4 things. It shows all 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have all the animals, but it has 4 different colors representing
Yes.
animals.
Well, it has the 4 seasons, so you still have that cycle of the year.
And it still
Which
has a
connects to
little
the zodiac.
circle kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Still
still
has
have
their
it all.
little circle, kind of.
And then you have the
Ish.
labyrinth here.
Yeah, kind of ish.
Yeah. there's a
And
labyrinth
I've
in
also,
front. Oh, and there's a door. There's
yeah,
a door
that's
there.
what I was gonna say.
It's a living tree. Someone's
It's a
living in it.
tree. And I've noticed that if you look, usually if the red leaves for fall kind of reminds me of fire,
Uh-huh.
and then this
In all
one,
the elements.
this one earth. Since winter's mostly kind of bluish and whitish, reminds me of water. And this one
Air.
reminds me of air.
Well, or it just defaults to air because
Yeah.
it's the one that's left. But yes, this has, actually, I would argue this could be water because it's coming to life because it's spring, and then this could be air because
Yeah, that's air. That's
there ain't no leaves and there's a lot of space for the air.
And plus,
Flow.
water makes things grow. Like that tree.
Give us time. We'll connect anything to anything. We can do it.
There's no figure and there's no affirmation.
There's no figure, but there is but there's a
tree could be a
there's a
color.
glimmering to that there being a figure because there's a door there. Somebody lives there. Somebody walks that labyrinth and lives in that world. We just don't see them. So we don't know if it's a girl or a boy. Could be both. And that is our complete collection. And this has been our final episode. This is it. Ta-da! You all have a great new year in 2015. And we will see you guys on some other videos.
Yeah.
Some other time.
Showing different decks.
No. Yes. No.
Yeah.
No more card comparison videos. I'm taking a break. Just going to tell y'all now. Forever. I have had some requests to do the pip cards and to do the court card, to do the rest of the cards. I'm going to be...
Oracle next.
I'll be honest, I'm taking a break from doing comparison videos because as I mentioned in one of my other videos, I am about to embark on studying a lot for some certifications. And I also have some books I want to read, and I have some other stuff I want to cover, so probably going to do that.
Yeah, she might come back reviewing books.
Yes, we could review books.
Yeah.
Should we review books? Yeah. I'm reading The Maze Runner right now. What are you reading?
I'm reading Monsters and Madness.
What's it called?
The Monsters and Madness.
I'm reading
a book.
The Fallout, and you're reading what?
A book.
That she doesn't know the title to.
Yeah.
Who needs to know that? It's
I'm
not
reading too many
important.
books right now. I'm reading that, and then I'm reading the one. What is it
I
called?
want to read this stuff.
Anyway, I'm reading a lot of books.
I think
have
it's
7
Miss
books.
Cheaper.
Oh yeah, and I am still reading the Shotgun Arcana in little pieces because I want to make it last because there's not another one out there yet.
Or is it
So-
Miss Cheaper's a vampire?
That's what it was.
I think so.
Bye-bye.
She's a vampire.
Bye-bye!
Bye-bye.